Great! Now that we've looked at Visual Studio and how it's laid out, let's dive in and start working on our project. First, launch Visual Studio and create a new project from the File menu. From the Visual C# templates, select Windows Store and then choose Grid App. Name your project Animals Puzzle and click OK. Press F5 or press the play button to launch the newly created Animals Puzzle infrastructure. After the application has fully loaded, we'll spend some time becoming familiar with the Metro-style architecture. As you see, there are 6 groups by default, and each group has a different number of items. By clicking on an item, we will be directed to the Items Detail page. And by clicking on each group title, we can see the overview of all the items belonging to that group. In other words, the Group Detail page. When finished, we can switch back to Visual Studio by using Windows key and D, or on a touchscreen, swipe left to right starting at the left edge of the screen. To stop the application, hold Shift and press F5, or press the Stop button. Now is a good time to learn more about the files that Visual Studio has generated for the grid template. Starting at the project's root folder, double-click on the app.xaml in the Solution Explorer. Here you see the application resources and references to the styles for the Metro layout. Additionally, the name of the application, which becomes the start page title, is also defined here. Next, click on the grouped items page.xaml. This is the file for the start page, and it lists all the required groups for the project. For example, if we wanted to create a project for categorizing books for different ages, then each group here would correspond to a different age bracket. Item-detail-page.xaml is the file for a selected item, and in the case of our example, would be a book a teenager might want to read. Finally, group-detail-page.xaml is the file for an overview of a selected group, and in our example, would be all the books a teenager might be interested in. The Solution Explorer also contains an Assets folder, which contains images for branding the app. The Common folder is a shared utility library containing standardstyles.xaml and other useful classes. Lastly, the Data Model folder contains data classes to access data locally and remotely. As you see, when we run the project, the title is the same as the project name. In our case, Animals Puzzle, with no space between animals and puzzle. So where can we change this to 2 words? Open app.xaml and change the app name from 1 word to 2 words. Press F5 or the play button to verify the changes. And once finished, press the Windows key and D to go back to Visual Studio. Hold Shift and press F5 to stop the application. Another issue is when we go to the Windows 8 start screen, there is an empty gray tile for our app. This was created the first time we ran the application. In this section, we'll look at improving the look, layout, and branding. One improvement we can make is to choose an appropriate logo for the Animals Puzzle application. To do this, find a suitable image and add it to the Assets folder. I'm just going to drag and drop this pre-created image into my solution. Next, open the package.appxmanifest file to provide the right path and file name for the logo. This same process applies for wide logo and small logo. Please note that all images should be in PNG formats. Next, go to the Windows 8 Start screen, right-click on the Animals Puzzle tile, or drag it down a little on a touchscreen. Select Uninstall at the bottom of the screen to uninstall and remove the tile. Next, go back to Visual Studio and run the application again by pressing F5 or the play button, and go to the Windows 8 Start screen to see the new tile. All right, that's a good start on our project. In the next tutorial, I'll show you how you can easily load your project data. See you there!